Welcome to Spartan SportsBeat. I'm Steve Balson, bringing you the latest in the world of St. Thomas Aquinas College athletics. In this edition, we're joined by the head coach and associate athletic director of the STAC Athletic Department, Barbara Vano, and we'll be talking about the St. Thomas Aquinas Lady Spartans softball team. Barbara, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting me, Steve.
Barbara, you are one of the fixtures in the East Coast Conference and have been at St. Thomas Aquinas for a number of years. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be here and some high points in your tenure here.
Well, this is the 36th year that I'm here, and it's been fun. And one of the biggest things I always said when I was in college, I never wanted to work for a living. And for 36 years, I really haven't worked. It all came about by answering an advertisement, saying that there was a position open for a coordinator of women's athletics here at STAC. I answered it. I was accepted. They offered me the job, and I've been here ever since.
And you've been here for all that time. It's not exactly a short commute for you either, is it?
Right. No, it isn't. It takes about an hour and 15 minutes.
But you still come here, and you've been doing this for all these years. As you've been with intercollegiate athletics for, as you said, the better part of 3.5 decades now, talk a little bit about some of the changes that you've seen. What are some of the improvements and maybe the evolution of college sports in general and women's sports in particular?
Well, when I first came here, one of the biggest issues was, women were not looked at as athletes. Women were women, and some people would argue that we shouldn't be on the playing field. But the bottom line is, the federal law, Title IX, helped us, and we started to evolve from there. And once we got to the point where the women came into play, and St. Thomas has been very good with the women. They understood it. They understood the law. They knew what we had to do. So way back when I first came here, the thought was to improve the women's program. They allowed me a lot of freedom to do that, which we did. And we've evolved to the sports that we have now.
And it had to be an uphill battle for you personally, because there was a time where administrators, especially female administrators, were scarce in intercollegiate athletics.
Yes. We had more men, and we came into a man's world. And, we had to learn how to deal in the man's world. But the bottom line is, here at St. Thomas, I didn't have some of the major issues that some of my friends did, because they understood what they wanted to do, the direction they wanted to go. They wanted to develop a women's program. We had men's program. We had just women's basketball at the time, and they wanted us to be equal. We became equal, and then they asked us, they asked me to put more into it, and we did. And they allowed us to do it, and I'm extremely happy about that.
Well, and that tradition has continued over the years as St. Thomas Aquinas continues with the support of the administration to put more into the program, and you'll be one of the beneficiaries this coming spring, as you and the Lady Spartan softball team will have a brand spanking new softball field to ply your wares on. What is that experience like for you? In what stage is that project, and what do you look for? How do you expect that to affect the program?
Well, the first thing, I really do have to look to the administration and say to them that they understood what had to happen. They knew it. And one of the biggest things was the president wanted her teams back on this campus. Our soccer team, our lacrosse team, they had to play away. And she wanted them back here so our student population can see them play. And that was one of the driving forces for it. The field itself right now is in the stage of, it's completed. We're just waiting for the town to give us the CO so we can go and finish making some modifications, to the field. And
for the team and the program itself, what does this do for you as a coach when you're looking at high school athletes or perhaps college transfer athletes to come and play with the program? It's got to be a great selling point.
Oh, it is. I can sit here and tell you in all honesty that we already have one young lady who has signed a national letter of intent for us. And when she came up for a visit, she came up for 2 or 3 visits, and she passed by the field and she kind of saw the progress of the field. She hasn't seen it in its completion, but when it got to where it looked like it was completed, she said to me, she goes, "It's going to be fun playing on that field." And I said, yes. And all the kids we're talking to now about coming, that's another good selling point for us. It's a brand new field. Everything is brand new. It's not that we're taking, the old dugouts, we're going to use those. Everything is brand new.
And let's transition that into what we expect to see on the field this year. Obviously, every new season starts with a lot of optimism. Tell us about what the Lady Spartans are going to look like when they take the field in just a few short weeks.
Well, I hope that, as we're talking here, I hope they're doing their workout that they're supposed to. But knowing this group, they are. They are dedicated to the sport of softball. They're dedicated to being athletes. So I know that they're doing a good job. And once they come back in January and we start our practices, I expect good things from them. I expect us to be better than we were last year. And it all, as you know, in softball, always relies on pitchers. We have 2 senior pitchers that we're depending on, Maura Power and Megan Sweezy. And we have a freshman pitcher who we brought in, who we're going to bring along slowly, Kim Nowak. She's a great kid. She's a hard thrower, and she's going to have 2 really good seniors to look up to. And they'll help her. In the fall, we saw it. We saw them helping her in the fall, and she had questions she asked, and they would definitely step up because we all have a very similar goal, and that is to do the best we can to get to the ECC playoffs and play the best softball that we can.
Well, if the team continues to follow the work ethic and the experience of its venerable veteran coach, Barbara Vanno, we're certain we're going to see good things not only this year, but in the years to come. Barbara, thanks so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
Barbara Vanno, the Associate Athletic Director and Head Women's Softball Coach here at St. Thomas Aquinas College. We're going to continue on the theme of women's softball as Maura Power is going to be joining us shortly. Stay with us. This is Spartan SportsBeat. And welcome back to Spartan SportsBeat. Steve Balson here, and once again, thank you for joining us today as we continue our theme of St. Thomas Aquinas College women's softball. We're joined by the starting pitcher of the Lady Spartan softball team, Maura Power. Maura, thank you for joining us today.
Sure.
Maura, talk a little bit about your time here now. You're a senior, you're a captain on the team, but first let's go back to how you ended up at St. Thomas Aquinas. What brought you here? What was the recruitment process like? And how did you make the decision?
I went to Albertus Magnus High School, and our pitching coach at Stack was Kristen Sullivan, and she was my pitching coach like when I was younger, like since I was 11 years old. And I always wanted to go somewhere local, and like Kristen always told me, I think Stack would be a good fit for you. It's a small school, and like I like small environments, and she suggested Stack, and I went to Stack, and I talked to BV, I talked to Coach D, and I liked the team, and BV saw and came me pitch a couple times, and it just seemed like the right place to go and a good fit.
And of course, BB, the fixture, Barbara Vanno, the head coach of the team, as we've chatted with here earlier. You are a senior on the squad now. What has it been like to play for someone with Barbara's experience and intensity as well, and so well known in the field?
It's been a really good experience. She's taught me a lot. Coach D also has taught me a lot. Each year I feel like we've made improvements, and each year I feel like we've gotten better and better in certain areas, and it's been a really good experience.
And as you look at your senior year approaching now, you've had some personal honors as well. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
I believe my junior year I got ECC Pitcher of the Week. Also, I was MVP my sophomore and junior year for the team.
And that was the team most valuable player. So now you come into your senior year, you're one of the captains on the team. First of all, it has to have been difficult in recent years with the transition going on with the athletic field. Now you've got that brand new field that you're looking at to play. Is that exciting for you?
It's really exciting. I know there's been talk of a new field, and I was getting really nervous. Because it was like my senior year, and it wasn't sure if the field would be ready, but it's ready, and I'm really excited to play in it, and I know the girls are, and I feel like it will be a good boost of.
And it always seems to happen the year after. You're fortunate you're getting at least the benefit of your senior year with it. As a pitcher, from a practical standpoint, it has to be an advantage because you know at least now you're going to be getting that true hop on the infield and some pretty good sight lines out there. This field should be as good as you can make it for both yourself and your teammates.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a new field for everyone, and we're going to get, I know the lacrosse team, my team, and the soccer team, we're all really excited to play on it, and it's going to be great, I think.
So as you look at the prospects for your team this season, what are you expecting from yourself and your teammates? Do you have any specific goals in mind? Is there anything you're looking for coming into the new year?
As a team, I think we just want to be successful, and we want to we want to win, we want to have fun. We have goals. We want to be better than we were last year, keep making steps forward, and every year we hope to get better and better. And
as you're in your senior year now, you have to be giving some thought to what's going on after graduation. And of course, there's so much focus here in the Stack Athletic program on academics as well. What are you looking for after graduation? I'm
majoring in elementary education and special ed, and what I'm looking for is hopefully get a job and teach elementary school kids, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Well, you still have this whole senior year ahead of you, and we're not going to rush you out the door just yet. But as a team captain and as someone who has a few years now of varsity athletics under your belt, what do you think you're going to look back on in your collegiate playing career in terms of leadership, in terms of participation that you might take with you into the real world, so to speak?
Definitely, I learned that communication is key on the field, in schoolwork, in the classroom, and I know that communication with my students when I become a teacher is going to be important. And one day I hope to be a coach for softball, and I can communicate with my players, and also just to relax and have fun. And that's what I learned here. If you relax and have fun, and you take what you've learned from practice and bring it to the fields and games, you'll be successful.
And Maura, we're sure that with the leadership skills that you've learned here and with your own expertise on the field, not just in past years, but in this to come, you're certainly destined to be a success, and we want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
That wraps up this edition of Spartan Sports Beat. We'd like to thank our guests today, Associate Director of Athletics and Head Softball Coach Barbara Vano, as well as Lady Spartans pitcher Maura Power for joining us in today's edition, and we'd like to thank you for watching us on the internet. Spartan Sports Beat is a production of the St. Thomas Aquinas College Department of Athletics and JHP Productions. Until next time, this is Steve Balson saying so long from Spark Hill.